Hello and welcome to a presentation titled When Moon, Sir. This is going to be a scientifically wild-ass guess about the next top in Bitcoin. So if you're interested in seeing maybe how long this bull market's going to last, stick around. Because that's really the question everybody wants to know, right? When moon? And how long is it going to last? There's a lot of euphoria going on right now, and I'm just as curious as you are. How long should we hold for? How much more pumpage do we have in this bad boy? And, Bitcoin matters for now because it kind of is the dominant player. That might not be true forever, but let's try to answer that question with a little bit of back of the napkin math, huh? Now, just a couple things before we go any further. This is truly back of the napkin guessing, and it should not be taken as financial advice. Again, most models are pretty much wrong all the time, and mine is probably going to be as well. Things are likely much more complicated. If the universe prefers, for whatever reason, things like exponential rates of decay and stuff like that, then maybe you could do a more mathematically accurate version of this with a more viable model made from like exponential regression and stuff like that. I'm literally just adding up numbers together using the 2 or 3 or 4 data points that I have with the Bitcoin bull cycles, right? But why does this matter, guys? It matters to you because if you want to figure out when the next top of Bitcoin is going to be, that can help you make your decisions about other coins as well. If you're staking Hex, for example, maybe you'll want to stake until the peak of the next bull and then time some stakes after the predicted next recovery might be. Again, this is not meant to be financial advice for anybody, but it might help you reach a decision faster. And of course, all the smart guys on Twitter and on Telegram, you guys can tell me how wrong I am because I'm sure there's tons of mistakes in here and assumptions that we're not really sure, right? So this is the BLX chart, Brave New Coin Liquid Index for Bitcoin on TradingView. I got rid of the grid line so it's a little bit easier to see. Basically, you can see we've had 3, full boom and bust cycles, and that's hopefully enough data to kind of predict where the next top is going to be. So, the first one from complete peak or complete dip to dip was 406 days about. And again, these are all approximations. So I'm trying to be semi-exact, but I'm sure I'm off by some margin of error, of course. So 406 days to go from about a penny to $32. Then it took 1,148 days to go from about $1 up into 1,200 approximately from the China bubble. And then on the most recent peak to peak or dip to dip, the dip to dip took 1,435 days to go from about maybe 200 all the way up to 20,000, right? And now I think we can safely say the bottom is in at about 3K, and we have no idea how high we're going to go and how far we're going to go, right? So this is the chart, and let's talk about some of the numbers that we crunched in this bad boy. So first of all, is there a trend in the upward movements from cycle to cycle? Now, I'm not really sure, but from top to bottom one, there's an upward movement of 317,641% up, right? And from top to bottom two, there was an upward move of 59,347% up, which is, a decrease in the amplitude of about 80% because, 59K is about only 19% of 317K, right? Now, what about the third peak, right? The third impulse up made a top at only about 11,846% of a move, right? So that move was about 20% of 59,000. 11,846 is 20% of 59,347. So what can we assume here? Well, these are relatively similar. I mean, we've only got 2 data points to work with, right? But 2 data points is actually a lot better than 1. And even 1 data point is actually a lot better than 0. People say you can't really figure anything out with 1 data point. That's actually false. You can actually learn and try to make some projections even with 1 data point. Knowing nothing would mean 0 data points, right? So we have 2, and I think that's pretty good, right? If the first top to bottom 1 to top to bottom 2 if top to bottom 2 was only about 19% of top to bottom 1, and top to bottom 3 was only about 20% of top to bottom 2, maybe we can make the assumption or the hypothesis that these pulses are decreasing in amplitude at a near constant rate. It's probably not true, again, but maybe it is, right? Just a hypothesis. So if that were true for the next bull cycle, what would the 80% decrease be from 11,846%? That would lead us with a prediction of the next top to bottom impulse. If you guys know about pulses, wink wink, you're going to like this. 2,369%. They got that little nice 369 going on. Is it a sign from God? Probably. Let's move on. Is there a trend? Now we want to find out, is there a trend in the length per cycle? So we got the amplitude. Now what about the length, right? So from the first bottom to bottom span of time, there was 406 days. 406 days. From the next bottom to bottom cycle of time, there was 1,148 days. And from the third bottom to bottom, there was 1,435 days. Again, all approximately. I'm actually using the weekly here, so I might be off by a few days. But you can see we've got 406, 1148, and 1435 over here, right? So we'll go back. And from the cycle 1 to cycle 2, there was actually a 742-day difference in between the length of time for that cycle. And from cycle 2 to cycle 3, there was actually only a 287-day difference. So we definitely cannot say that the length of time, the rate of change of the length of time per cycle is constant, right? It's obviously seems to be decreasing every time. But what if the rate of change of the length per cycle was relatively constant? Maybe that's a reasonable assumption to make. So let's say that the cycle length is increasing because we can see that visually, but it's increasing at a decreasing rate. So the rate of the rate is actually a 39%. So if the cycle length is increasing but at a decreasing rate, what if that decreasing rate is actually constant? So from the 742-day difference to the 287-day difference, it's actually a 39% decrease in days between cycles. Now, what if that just continues to be true, and our hypothesis here is that the rate of change of decrease is a constant 39%? That would make the next bottom-to-bottom length prediction actually 1,547 days, again, approximately, right? So let's take that for what it's worth, and let's move on. Now, we measured the length in bottoms to bottoms, right? But that doesn't tell us anything about tops, right? How do we know when the top is going to fall within that length of 1,500 days, right? So what we can do is we can see when were the tops made in between the bottom to bottom spans for the previous cycles. So let's look at the ratio of bottom to top over bottom to bottom of each cycle. So let's go back here and we could talk about in cycle 1, it took 245 days to get to the top, and it took 406 days to get back to the bottom again. For cycle 2, it took 742 days out of the total 1148 to make the top, right? So the rest of the time was spent making the bottom. And finally, on the third cycle, we had 1071 days to make the top and 1435 days to continue for the whole bottom to bottom. So for cycle 1, what's the ratio of 245 over 406? It's 60%. So that means the peak came 60% into the cycle. For cycle 2, the ratio is 742 over 1148. That means the peak came in at about 65% into the cycle. For cycle 3, the ratio of top to bottom over bottom to bottom is 1071 over 1435, which is about 75%. Now, I don't know about you, but I'm seeing a little bit of a trend here from 60 to 65 to 75. Is it a trend? I have no idea. Maybe it is, maybe it isn't. So what does this actually mean? Does this mean that every cycle the crashes are happening further and further into the cycles? Maybe. Because the first time the crash happened 60% into the total cycle. Second time was 65. Third time was 75. Well, maybe the fourth time will be 90 because we're adding in 5, 10, 15, we're adding, increments of 5, then 10, then 15, right? So 75 plus 15 is 90. Again, I have no idea if that is the right trend or not, but we can take that 90% and say maybe we're going to have to wait all the way until 90% of this next bull cycle until we reach that projected peak, which might be at about 1,393 days, or 92 days, rather. So, if this really is a trend and the next peak comes 90% through the cycle total, then that might come in about 1392 days. So, my Nostradamus prediction for you guys, and again, I scientifically wild-ass guess. Bitcoin will peak on October 2nd, 2022 at $76,324. Of course, this also assumes that Bitcoin will continue to be the dominant market mover. It could just as easily flip to ETH, or even, dare I say, Hex, right? And again, I'm most likely to be proven wrong before this date, so make sure to save this for later, and you can all have fun taking shots at me when this is wrong. I'd be happy to be wrong, and I'd be happy to see everything go much, much higher, right? But this is all I got for you right now. And again, that puts us at our nice little beautiful star over here at about 76,000 at approximately October 2nd of 2022, right? So who knows? And whatever happens from now till then, I have no idea, right? Sky's the limit. I hope this was at least entertaining for you guys. And it's fun to do moon math, so as always, keep calm, hex on, and have a good rest of your day.